In a world grappling with the ever-growing challenges of climate change, resource depletion, and animal welfare concerns, the traditional methods of meat production are under scrutiny. Enter lab-grown meat, an innovative and sustainable alternative that has been making waves in the food industry. Today, we will explore the world of lab-grown meat, exploring its science, advantages, challenges, and the potential it holds for a more sustainable and ethical future of food. What is lab-grown meat? Lab-grown meat, also known as cultured meat or cell-based meat, represents a groundbreaking development in the way we produce one of the world's most consumed food products. It is a product of cellular agriculture, a field that combines biology, tissue engineering, and food science to grow meat without the need for traditional animal husbandry. Instead of raising and slaughtering animals, lab-grown meat is produced by cultivating animal cells in a controlled environment. The science behind lab-grown meat. The process of creating lab-grown meat starts with a small sample of animal cells, typically obtained through a harmless biopsy. These cells, which are usually muscle cells, are then nurtured and multiplied in a nutrient-rich medium that provides the necessary amino acids, sugars, and growth factors. Over time, these cells form muscle tissue, which is harvested and processed into familiar meat products like burgers, sausages, and chicken nuggets. Advantages of lab-grown meat. Environmental sustainability. One of the most compelling reasons to embrace lab-grown meat is its potential to reduce the environmental impact of meat production. Traditional livestock farming is a resource-intensive process that consumes vast amounts of land, water, and food, and produces substantial greenhouse gas emissions. In contrast, lab-grown meat has a significantly lower carbon footprint, requires less land and water, and could help mitigate the adverse effects of climate change. Animal welfare. The ethical concerns associated with factory farming and the treatment of animals have long been a point of contention. Lab-grown meat offers a cruelty-free alternative by eliminating the need to raise and slaughter animals for meat. This advancement aligns with the growing demand for more humane food production practices. Health considerations. Lab-grown meat can be produced with fewer contaminants and a reduced risk of foodborne illnesses compared to conventionally produced meat. This could lead to safer and more reliable meat products, addressing public health concerns. Challenges on the horizon. While the promise of lab-grown meat is undeniable, several challenges must be addressed for it to become a staple on our dinner tables. Cost. Currently, lab-grown meat is more expensive to produce than conventionally farmed meat. The high cost is primarily due to the complexity of the production process and the expense of the cell culture media. However, as technology advances and production scales up, experts anticipate that costs will decrease, making lab-grown meat more accessible. Regulation. The regulatory landscape for lab-grown meat is complex and varies from one region to another. Regulators must establish clear guidelines for safety, labeling, and consumer protection, ensuring that lab-grown meat meets the same stringent standards as traditional meat. Consumer acceptance. Public perception and acceptance of lab-grown meat are still evolving. Factors such as taste, texture, price, and the perception of naturalness play significant roles in whether consumers are willing to embrace this new form of meat. Companies and research in the field. Numerous companies and research institutions worldwide are actively engaged in developing lab-grown meat. Some pioneers in the industry include Beyond Meat, Impossible Foods, and Memphis Meats. These companies are continually refining their techniques and products with a focus on improving taste, texture, and affordability. The future outlook. The lab-grown meat industry is poised for significant growth in the coming years. As consumers become more conscious of the environmental and ethical implications of their food choices, the demand for sustainable and cruelty-free meat alternatives is expected to rise. With ongoing research and development, the cost of production is likely to decrease, making lab-grown meat a more viable option for a broader range of consumers. Lab-grown meat represents a promising solution to some of the most pressing challenges facing the food industry today. It offers a sustainable, ethical, and potentially healthier alternative to conventionally produced meat. While obstacles such as cost, regulation, and consumer acceptance remain, ongoing innovation and commitment from industry leaders make it increasingly likely that lab-grown meat will become a staple on our plates, contributing to a more sustainable and compassionate future of food. As we continue to explore the potential of this remarkable technology, one thing is certain: The way we think about and produce meat is evolving, and lab-grown meat is at the forefront of this culinary revolution.